Welcome to another video on learning New Testament Greek. We've been working our way slowly through chapters 1 to 3 of Duff, and we're reaching the end of chapter 3. We've looked at very simple verbs, the verbs like luo, and some eo verbs as well. And we've built up an understanding of how nouns work within the case structure in Greek. So we now are in a position to create very simple sentences. And as I said in the last video, Duff has actually piled quite a lot into this chapter 3. And we are talking about the last thing that he's added on, and it's a little bit unfortunate that he's stuck it all in one chapter, because this is kind of a new grammatical construct, and it's not difficult, but it kind of adds an element to the whole issue of the nouns. So we're going to talk about the third person personal pronoun. So let me explain. I've called this presentation He, Her and Other People, which is a little bit whimsical, and quite possibly the more significant description is in the subtitle of personal pronoun. So really I need to explain that. So let me start by explaining this third person personal pronoun. I'm taking for an example a simple English verb. I love, you love, he loves, we love, you love, they love. We don't really learn verbs like that, but someone who is learning English might. And when we learn other languages, we learn verbs like that, and we've done exactly that with the Greek. Phile, philo, phile, philes, and so on. Philumen, phileta, philusin. Now, really, there are three different groups of people involved. In the first one, it's, if you like, the group that I'm personally involved in. In the singular, it's me, myself, and in the plural, it's me and my crowd. With the second one, it's another group of people. It's actually the others, you over there. But it's the people I'm talking to, so I'm still got a reasonable involvement with them, you, and whether it's one person or multiple people, you. And then in the third group, it's kind of another group again, because I'm talking to someone else, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking about this other group, this third group. Well, it's either an individual, he, she, it, or in fact a group, they. So we actually, grammatically, they are given the name of first person, second person, and third person. So first person is me or us, second person is you, and third person is he, she, it, they. So when we actually talk about talking about the third person personal pronoun, we're talking about the he, she, it. Okay. So in English we can say he says, or he loves, or he likes, or whatever. Right? The third person personal, of course we can do she and we can do it. We can do they. And we've already learnt this in Greek. We've already seen that you can say lege, he says. Okay. But actually there is yet another way of saying it in Greek. And in some senses it's kind of more natural to the English to have this second way. And it's like this. Aŭtos lege. Ah, well, you know, we've got a he and a says. Aŭtos is he. Lege is says. So actually that makes more sense than just lege. We're going to explain a little bit more perhaps about the aŭtos and how it all works together in relation to the verb. The truth is, you don't need it. We've already learned that you can say lege, but you can use it. So you can get a sentence rather like this. I've put the first half in simply to kind of explain the second half. So, ho Jesus didaske ton ochlon. So Jesus is teaching the crowd. Aŭtos lege ton uranon. He speaks of the heavens. Jesus teaches the crowd. He speaks of the heavens. Now, don't take this sentence too seriously. I've actually put some of these sentences together. I'm very nervous about creating Greek sentences that I then present to you. Not because I'm going to get the Greek wrong, although that's always a fear, and it looks even worse when I'm notionally teaching you and then make a mistake. But because what a Greek might really say might not look quite like this. So this may not be real Greek, but it gives the idea of what we do. And in particular, it's that aŭtos in the middle, aŭtos lege. He speaks to them, he talks to them of the heavens. So, in fact, summarizing what we've said so far, we've introduced the idea of the pronoun he, aŭtos, and I'm already kind of flagging the fact that just as in English, she and it look different. So we're going to come to those. But what this slide is telling you is that although this is a little more awkward, first of all, it does change. Well, this time, so does English, although the Greek changes more. But it also matches the noun, the logos. So just like the ending of logos, aŭtos, the masculine personal pronoun fits the masculine noun. So it won't surprise you to see that she is aŭter, which matches the feminine noun, archer, because both are feminine. Nor will it surprise you to see that the neuter... Oh, so I'm giving you an example. I didn't realise I had that first. So I'm giving you an example, and I'll give you the meaning as well. Ho anthropos eche adelphe, aŭter phile ton kurion. And again, I've given you the first half really to create a context for the second half. The man has a sister. She loves the Lord. Aŭter phile ton kurion. So again, it's just like English, she loves. And so just like the example we gave you before, we could have just said phile ton kurion. You would have been left wondering whether it's he loves the Lord or she loves the Lord. The fact that you've mentioned that the man has a sister might make you think that it's her we're talking about. Now we're sure because we've used aŭter rather than aŭtos. And then in fact we've got the neuter. Now the neuter doesn't quite fit because the masculine and the feminine both have the same ending as equivalent nouns, but aŭtor doesn't. But in fact, if you look at the definite article, it matches the definite article. Now, the problem here is that the masculine and feminine don't match the definite article. Certainly the masculine doesn't, because the definite article will be ho, so you'd expect aŭtor there as well. So the rules aren't quite so logical, but it's an attempt to give you a feel for what it looks like. Okay, so if I put that into a slightly more expansive table, because we're talking about the subject of the sentence, he says, she loves, we're talking about the nominative. So this aŭtos, aŭter, aŭtor are the nominative forms for the third person personal pronoun. Now I've reverted to the definite articles because we started talking about that with to, but bear in mind that we could still have kept the nouns in place as well, and that the articles don't quite work with aŭtos. So if we then move to the accusative, this means we can then create sentences that has an object as well as a subject using ααυτος, you can see that I'm preparing this by putting the article in ready for when we put the ααυτος in, and this time the match to the article will be better. So in fact, as in English, we still vary it. So him, her, it. So he loves her, she loves him. If we were being very PC, we might say he loves him and she loves her. He likes it. So you can see that these words are used as the object of the sentence, him, her, and it. And of course, if we modify the αὐτο, we get what we kind of expect now. So from now on, the form of αὐτος will match the article. So in the non-nominative, it matches the article. When it comes to the plural, that will be true as well, although we'll discuss that in a moment. Okay, so I've done what I did before. I've put the table a little bit lower and I've made it a bit smaller because I'm going to give some examples. So one example, and again, I've created these, so don't take them too seriously. But hokurios aŭten phile. Now, it's aŭten, so it's first of all it's feminine, secondly it's accusative. So the Lord loves her. Okay? Well, the master loves her. Try the second one. I've given a context here. Aŭtos ten zoen phile, hologos aŭten tere. Now, this one is a very debatable bit of Greek. So again, don't take it too seriously. He loves life. αὐτος, he loves life. The word keeps it. Hologos aŭten teren. And I deliberately tried to use this because I wanted to show, just to emphasize, that we would use the feminine because it agrees with zoe, ten zoen. But in fact, in English, we'd treat it as a neuter. Because in English, we tend only to deal with genuine feminine people and animals as feminine, whereas in Greek, things can be feminine. Okay? Now, there's some things I haven't said about αὐτος, and I'm going to leave this to Duff, really. But αὐτος actually has a much wider use than merely he and she and it, and sometimes it's more emphatic, but we can come to that another time. So, there we are with the nominative and the accusative, and inevitably we now need to think about the genitive and the dative. So, the genitive, we're going to match to the article again, and as expected, there's a good match. So aŭtou, aŭtes, aŭtou. Notice the patterns are, as we've begun to experience in a few other things. Okay, and again, I'm giving some examples here. So, hokurios ton doulon aŭtou zete. This is something you will see a lot, this aŭtou, because it just means his slave. The Lord is looking for his slave. So it's ton doulon, the Lord is the subject, ton doulon is the object, aŭtou, it belongs to him, so it's his slave. Another example, he basilea tere ton laon aŭtes. Now I've done this one. It's a very artificial example, but to try and get the feminine form in. So the kingdom looks after its people. Okay, so the people of it being the kingdom. Again, I wouldn't trust it too far, but it gets the idea across. And then in fact, we've got the dative. I'm not going to give any more examples. You'll get them in the exercises. You'll meet them quite regularly. Aute is very common as a word. Aŭtos is very common as a word. So you will be exposed to it. But here you can see that apart from the nominative, it's a good match with the article. It's a good match with the nouns as well. We've got the same sort of pattern as we have with the articles. And then the plural, which follows the same sort of pattern. Now, I said that the nominative doesn't match. It does match fairly well, but obviously you've not got the towels on the article, so it's kind of not exactly the same sort of idea of matching, but yeah, it's not bad, is it? So there's a reasonable pattern to αὐτος. But there's a lot to learn. It is actually worth saying that αὐτος almost gives us the fundamental pattern for adjectives. Now remember, an adjective is something that can describe a noun. And these personal pronouns are really kind of adjectives, but they're very specific in the way they're used. And because an adjective can describe a noun, that noun can be masculine, feminine, or neuter. And the adjective, like αὐτος, will vary. It will take on the gender of the noun that it's modifying. So this is also going to be used as the pattern for the adjective. Now that's looking ahead, and that's more than we need to know. But that's αὐτος. In a nutshell, that's αὐτος. You are now in a position to read through the section on αὐτος in Duff, to have a look at the sort of little exercise at the end of that, and then in fact you've got the exercises for the end of the chapter. So have a go at those, do them before looking at the results, and remember section A, the answers are in the back, so you can actually correct them. Section B doesn't, so if you're working with a teacher, he or she may well want to set you those, and then they can assess your progress. I'm sure somewhere on the web people have posted results, so if you've not got someone that's teaching you, have a scan around on the web and you might find a key to the second part, second exercises. I've created another resource for you to look at. It's in more or less the same place as the resource from the previous video, so this explains how to find it. You go onto the website, my website, click on the menu, the main menu, Learn New Testament Greek, and then Resources, and you will see the third resource there is under a heading which says Summary of the Third Person Personal Pronoun. It's very cumbersome, that, but there you go. And it's called αὐτος, and it's a number of tables. Give you αὐτος, straight table of αὐτος, which is pretty much the one that's in Duff, but I thought it might be a bit simpler to see. I then do a comparison with nouns. Oh, well, in fact, I give you the kind of English equivalents of all of them, and then I give you a comparison with nouns. I've used nouns on that document rather than the article, so you can actually see the difference. So good luck with your exercise, and I hope to see you in chapter 4.